how to get users, and is now increasing problem because now everyone can use Replit to basically launch, and now they are stuck with an app that they burned a couple $100 on, and they don't even know how they can get their first users.
So how would I get my first users? Um, I mean, this is the yeah. You're right. This is the hard. This is like the most important question. Like you spend. I think can't remember who said it, but you spend what was it like 15 to 20% of the time developing the product and 80% of the time selling it or something crazy. So like yeah, you spend a lot. Um, if I were to like start today, I had a new app and I had to get 100 users in a weekend or let's say a week, 1 week. We have 100. Our goal is to get 100 users. What would I do? So Paul Graham has like one of his best essays ever. Is called "Do Things That Don't Scale." It's one of the best, like must read. And that's exactly what I would do. I would message 100 of my friends and, and tell them to use my app. Depending on what it is, I find 100 people within the not again. It could be 100 friends, but 100 people in my network that that are the target market for what I'm building. If I'm building something for real estate agents, I would go find 100 real estate agents that I know, or I'd find 20 and then tell them to go share it with their friends. But I think the 100 users is a little bit of a even though again I think I'm the one who said it. You didn't say it, so I said 100. But one thing that's interesting is yeah you want the way to really get a product to go viral or to really get people excited is you need to get a small number of people to fall in love with it and be obsessed with it. I think it might be better to get 5 users that can give you critical feedback and you can iterate on it because you're going to iterate. And I think one of my favorite videos that Y Combinator has ever done is called like how to launch again and again. And again, the point of the video was that there is no such thing as people think there's like a April 18th launch of this, as if like you're a store, you're having a grand opening or grand launch. With like software or just like startups, like you actually just keep launching over and over and over and over and over again. And so the one time because again the beauty of social media is that when you fail, nobody notices because you only get 50 impressions or 100 impressions. When you get 1.8 million or 5 million impressions on a launch, people are like, "Man, look at this! You guys launched," but that might have been your 50th launch, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, so what you do is I'd give it to a handful of people in my network that I know that I can trust to give me good feedback. And then again, good feedback meaning like they can tell me like what they like and dislike about it, but also if I can if it's a consumer app, I build some sort of instrumentation where I can see how they use it, and if they never open it up again, that's a sign that it's probably not they're not falling in love with the product. So that's what I would do. Like I would spend a weekend again if I had 1 week, I'd spend the first weekend on just getting something out there to 5 to 10, 15 people that are the ICP for what I'm looking for, the ideal customer profile, and then I'd spend the rest of the week iterating to get to the next 90, for example,
Yeah,
if I could. What
you,
would you do?
one of my not recommended ideas that I worked on. So it was a water delivery app to Masajid, and I got the idea on Monday. Thursday, I was basically in a U-Haul delivering water, and the way I did it is basically I messaged literally what you said. I messaged 50 to 100 people in my network. I said, I only have 10 slots. I'm delivering only 10 orders this weekend, and I want you to be part of this opportunity to serve the people in the masjid in Friday. And yeah, and then I got 10 orders from the people, and boom, I got a U-Haul. I went to Costco, got the cases, and delivered. And then from that delivery, actually, because I put my label on every bottle manually, which is things that don't scale. I open every case, I put a label that this is me, and a QR code to video that I talk about what we're doing. And the masjid, actually, the biggest masjid, one of them scanned the QR code and he saw my face. So next day he was like, "Listen, man, there's this sister who gave us $500. She wants us to buy water with it. So just take it, do your thing." I was
Inshallah.
like, "Amazing, we're gonna deliver more water now."
But
So
that's a great
yeah,
story. I mean, that's a great story. That's how you get started.
mm,
Again,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I know. I mean, the question is not like how to get a million customers or a billion customers. The question is how to get your
mhm,
first 10 or 100,
yeah,
and that's what matters in this point. So whatever you're working on doesn't matter what
mm,
you're working on. Like try focus on
yeah,
getting the users. And if people, let's say you build something that remember we talked about hypotheses and proving and disproving it. So if you give something to someone and they're not using it or they don't like it or it's not useful. Okay, it's not about liking it. So is it
mhm,
useful to them? If it's not useful, that's a sign that it's probably the wrong thing to work on. Generally,
yeah,
not always, but yeah, it might be either the wrong ICP or it's just not
mhm,
useful to that person. So again, the beauty of Cloud Code, Replit, and just these AI agents, or whatever, is that you can build something very quickly. The next step is can you actually go get 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people to use it? And last thing, I guess, on top of that is make them pay for it. Like generally speaking, you should make them pay for it, like you did with the water. Like if you're just going to deliver for free, then who would say no to that? Who wants, yeah, just deliver it. I'll use it. I'll use it anytime. But the moment you ask them to pay and kind of they actually become a customer, and then their feedback becomes real because there's a pain associated with me taking money and giving it to you, and then you not delivering it. Now there's pain. But if it's
yeah,
free, then
yeah.
I can just be like, oh, mashallah, like, it's okay, man. It's okay when you
Yeah,
feel.
brothers were testing me after. It's like, listen, man, I don't want you to buy filtered water. You should deliver spring water to our masajid. Like, what's this low quality water? I was like, okay, okay, we'll get you spring. Don't worry,
Yeah.
don't worry.
But that's good. That's good. So
So
yeah, they start
yeah,
up leveling like what they're looking for, and that's
yeah,
great.
and
Like
they
you learn,
subscribed.
yeah,
They subscribed.
mashallah.
It's like, I said, man, this is actually good. We're gonna do monthly. So uh, so they liked it.
And this is the muscle. Like this is the muscle as a founder you need to learn, right? So and that's why working on target ideas or ideas that are not like the best, there's still some value in them, right? Uh, that being said, there's some products that just don't bring because like a lot of products are free. A lot of target ideas are free, and so you actually don't get real feedback, and so that's why I'm against like working on those ideas. But generally, if you can get someone to pay, even if it's not a good idea, it's still worth working on because you'll learn so much from the iterative process of actually trying to acquire a customer.
Yeah, yeah. Like, do you know how Etsy, for example, they scaled?
Tell us.
The founders, they basically went to the craft fairs across the country, and they were manually signing people up. Same with Airbnb. They waited for the big conference in SF. Everything was sold out, and boom, they marketed their thing, made people pay. So whoever has an idea, like, they should find a massive opportunity where their customers will need their solution the most with the highest pain, and then try to basically attack it over there.
Actually, the way Reddit started was I think the two founders of Reddit would have 10 accounts and they posted 10 times a day each. And so it looked like when people came into the website, it looked like it was this already active. People are commenting and all that. So there's already like 20, 30 active users, and that kind of helped funnel the people to come in, right? So and that's doing things that don't scale because you think as a founder I'm going to be the one doing vision and strategy and all these crazy things, but what I'm actually doing is making 10 burner accounts and posting every day, right? And again, that's what like we're for Friday. I'm manually sending messages to individuals like still to this day, and we're over 4,000 members. Again, Purify, same thing with Purify. Even though we have hundreds of thousands of people on the wait list, alhamdulillah, that's we've done a lot of things to get there, but I still, even though we have such a large number, I still manually add like, please join the waitlist, please join the waitlist one by one, right? Because and the conversion rate is just so much higher that way, and it builds like a stickier product, a stickier user, and all that good stuff. But you kind of build this relationship with you stay close to the user, which is so important as a founder. It's like the most important thing is talking to your users. And it's crazy because when I worked at big companies, even when I worked at like a startup, most of us didn't talk to our users, and it's the one thing that we hear over and over again. But it's easy to forget, even though it sounds like I keep saying it, but it's easier to just be in our weeds, build product, send a customer support email or whatever it is, like not like actually like hear from them. It's scary. It's not necessarily comfortable, but again, the best founders, the best companies are always listening and talking to users, always.
Yeah, yeah, and the manual process that you talk about. This is even when I launched the startup incubator, and we accepted basically the first 100. I manually made an acceptance flyer for everyone with their name and picture, and basically send it to them on their own WhatsApp. So I manually added every number on WhatsApp, and I was sending them the acceptance letter because they're not gonna read their email, so let's just do it on WhatsApp. And yeah, the conversion rate was crazy. They all responded and participated and all these things because this was our first time doing it. So I had
Sure.
to do everything manually, and as you said, it's worth it. It doesn't scale, but you have to.
That's amazing. And again, one kind of pseudo related, not really, but like one thing that's interesting is this whole idea of again us using AI to build products. What ends up actually happening for us, we're all guilty of this, is that um, it's all AI slop design. AI generated, and our eyes start to get trained on that. So even though you build something that may be useful, when you share it with me, let's say I'm the customer, you honestly share this thing. Hey, I built this website. I built this thing. Try it out. Great. I click it. It looks like AI slop design. What's the first thing I do? No matter how useful the product is, I leave. My brain shuts off, and I'm like, no, this is AI slop, and I'm out. So there is kind of like a double-edged sword to building a project on Replit over the weekend or one of these guys because it may solve a real problem. It may be like a real business potentially, but you actually can't get the user to sign up because it looks like AI slop. So now things like, and again, the do things don't scale, I think is related because maybe you have to go into Canva or Figma and do it and design it yourself, maybe, right? Versus asking an agent to do it, which is again, that is a way of scaling things. So there is that manual process is still, I think, important and shouldn't be overlooked. Because again, now that we're getting inundated with AI slop, I mean, we get pitched. I mean, how many of our the pitch decks do we get for Friday Ventures? How many? Yeah, and when people give us demos or they share their website, I would say that a good, I don't even know, man, like 60-70%, maybe more, maybe 80% of the company's websites that we get are AI slop, like or AI slop design, let's just say, and then unfortunately, it turns us off, man. I don't know, honestly, if you feel the same way. It turns me off. I just don't look. I just turn off. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like that shows low effort from the founder, and they trying to find shortcuts. And honestly, like anyone who tries to find shortcuts in the journey, they're basically like canceled. Like there's no shortcuts in this, whatever you do, right? Um, and that just shows low effort, low intentions, and you're just trying to move or get money quickly. So yeah, like you should spend your time doing it so you can get the right five, the right 10 users, and then they start talking about your thing. Um, and then you're gonna start looking for these hacks to basically grow. But at the beginning, there is no hacks, and everything should be manual. Everything should be you posting, your DMing, your cold calling, and like all these things should happen in the beginning until you iterate and make something good. And then users is gonna start talking about your product, and then boom, you start growing. Like like Hotmail, Hotmail users when they're almost stuck. And Tim Draper actually told a story. He talks about it a lot because this is one of his um, proud moments as an investor. Because
That dude is that dude is prolific, man.
yeah,
He invests in everything.
yeah. So the founders met with him. It's like, man, like we're not getting users. It's terrible. What should we do? So it's like, can you guys add at the bottom of every email that this was sent by Hotmail? And they were like, yeah. I was like, okay, you guys should do that. Let's try it out. And then boom, he basically changed
Virality.
the industry with this. Yeah, he changed the industry with that concept.
Amazing.
So
That's amazing. Even though again, I know we're talking a lot about AI slop, but at the end of the day, like I'm not here to dissuade you from using it because we use it. Everyone uses it, right? And so it means like use it as a base and then kind of iterate on it. But I mean that being said, the person who does, I mean it's not that you don't use it, but the person who it doesn't look like AI slop can really stands out nowadays. So putting that extra effort actually makes a huge difference. Like you'll stand out. I guarantee you'll stand out, even if it's an idea that's not as great. You might have a chance to actually meet. If you're raising money or even getting a customer because in their head they're like, hey, this is solving my problem, but it's also like I don't have like the AI slap reaction, which is like, oh, I'm out of here. So that's it's a way to stand out potentially nowadays. Is like, again, I'm not saying don't use it, but design around it. Let's say that.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And also be where, everyone knows that, but many founders don't do it, which is you go where your users go, and that's virtually and in person too. So you join their group chats, you go to their events, you see where they hang out, what they read, what they love, what they hate. You kind of like try to basically find all the details about your user, and then just be there. Just be there. Like I know you're sharing, like, since we're doing fintech, you subscribe to like a lot of fintech newsletters and like all these like um, fintech products, newsletters, updates. You memorize basically all the competitors and what they do and where they at. So that helps because you really understand what's going on with your user and your user yourself. So that also helps.
I mean, and naturally, my feed for all social media is now like full of that stuff, right? Which
Yeah.
is good. Is good, right? I mean, even you were telling me like you're running ads and you're doing ads, creatives, that type of thing, and you said the same thing. You're like, my Instagram is just full of ads here, left and right, and I'm just looking at ads everywhere I go. I'm getting fintech ads everywhere I go, and that's awesome. Like that's how else do you learn,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Picasso's famous quote: "Good artists copy, great artists steal." You just
Hmm.
and you being where the users is like so beneficial beyond just learning about the user, but also about competition, about what people are doing, what works in the space, what doesn't. Um, and even though you have I think people who like maybe don't have the experience in that industry, there's a lot to be said about you kind of coming in with a fresh lens into that same, like, you kind of jump into the deep end, but you're coming from a fresh lens versus someone who may have worked in fintech or been in fintech for 20 years or crypto or whatever it is, and then they go in, they might be more blinders on, whereas someone fresh brings like an amazing perspective. And I remember like almost every time we hired someone new at every company I worked at, we always brought that. We're like, hey, look, some of us have been working here for years, and so it's nice to bring a fresh lens. This person can look at things more from first principles, objectively, and so we really appreciated that. Especially when I was at Autodesk, I think a lot of lifers there. A lot of people there working for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So they were just like, again, blinders. You're stuck in that environment. You've never really seen another environment. So they appreciated when someone young, or even not even young, it doesn't have to be young, someone comes in fresh from Google or a different company. It made a big difference, and I personally respect it. I love to see people kind of come in that way. Um, but yeah, again, at the end of the day, it's like what you need to do is you really need to deeply understand your user, and the user doesn't necessarily, what the user tells you doesn't necessarily mean that's what they want. I mean, the most famous quote I think in startups is Henry Ford's quote. If you asked me, if I asked the people what they wanted, they would have said they wanted faster horses. So that's like probably the most famous quote I think in startups that I know of. And he knew that they just wanted faster car. They needed something different. I mean, Steve Jobs is also like very famous for doing user research and getting user data, but not listening to the user. Because I think if you asked people what they wanted from, let's say, an iPod to an iPhone, they probably would have said, "I want a better battery life," or "I want more storage in my songs," or whatever it is. And then he came out with the iPhone, which has nothing to do with the iPod Nano and iPods and all that. And so there is like, but knowing the user is the most important thing, right? And listening to them both directly and indirectly. And the way to do that is, to your point, be where they are, right? Whether it's Reddit forums or just forums and in person, wherever it is.
Yeah, because sometimes your users are not on TikTok or Instagram, and you're just doing Instagram, TikTok, and there's like why they are not there, like why I'm not getting users, because it's obvious they're not living there, like they don't go there. You just have to go to the right place. Maybe they're on X or they're on LinkedIn, and once you
Exactly.
obviously in the beginning you need to test out, or you need to basically understand your users deeply to see where they go. But if I'm targeting um, Gen Z, for example, is very different from targeting, let's say, people who care about fitness and food and health, for example. It's very different places. And This is where people like founders sometimes they get it wrong, which is like, okay, let's do the channels that are available. Let's do content TikTok. Let's do ads. Let's do Reddit, and then they just burn out doing all these channels.
Yeah, I mean, in that regard, I think there's kind of first off, 100% agreed. So like, if you're gonna again, what the average age in TikTok is, I don't even know, 18, 20 years old, and so if like you're trying to target 75-year-old grandmas for something, it's probably not the best channel, most likely. Um, but there is something to be said about like how do you run a test quickly, right? So you can post the same things on different channels and see kind of how they work, and then you'll start to get and then you'll start to look at data. So I'll give you an example of what we've been doing. We've been posting things on Instagram and TikTok. We've been posting things on LinkedIn and Twitter, and we can see the conversion rate on each one. So you may get X thousands of views, and then that might convert to X clicks, and then that'll convert to X signups, for example. So you can look at the data, and you can see the attribution. These came from TikTok, these came from LinkedIn, these came from Twitter, and you can see, like one of our friends, for example, he had his startup. He says that when he posts on Instagram, he gets a lot of views, but very few clicks on the link, and very few downloads. I think for every 10,000 views, he gets like 2 downloads or 3 downloads maybe. And then when he ran ads, he ran I think he got like 10 downloads, and it was like 30 clicks or 40 clicks. So like it was much better ROI. But again, that being said, an ad costs money, right? So
Yeah,
there's
even
that to
on X
be
actually,
considered.
he got only 1.5K on X, and he got 16 downloads. So he was like, yeah, because his users basically live on X, which makes sense. All the founders, he's targeting
Right.
founders and all these things, they live on X. They don't go to Instagram. So conversion is much better on X for him.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, finding where people live. Again, that's why the more deeper you can go in the mind of the user or be where they are, that matters so much. Right, again, like if I'm, again, a bad example, but if I'm looking for grandmas, for example, maybe they're like going to bingo nights, or maybe they're, you know what I mean? Like there maybe have some events that they go to. Like that's where you need to be. Again, if I was going after real estate agents, I would find open houses. You know what I mean? Like the open houses, but I would never go to an open house if I'm looking for a software engineer as my user. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's as we mentioned, it's a manual process that founders should go through, and then obviously going from 0 to 100 is very different from 100 to 1,000, and then it's very different from 1,000 to 10,000. What's your opinion on running ads early on?
Um, yeah, ads are, I think, a few things. So one is, I think you should again do things that don't scale or do things kind of more. Let's call them guerrilla tactics, guerrilla warfare at the beginning, which means do like more content. Just again, if you need to go, drive to 30 minutes away to go to a meetup where your customers are, like that's what you should be doing. With ads, what I would say is test. So again, if you have no budget, if you're bootstrapping, you don't have any money, then don't run ads. But if you have, I have $500, I have $1,000. I think it's worth trying, and then kind of learning, warming up accounts, that type of thing. It's worth doing. But I think even though your bang for the buck may be the ad, you still need to build a presence. You need to build a good product, right? That's at the end of the day, like it has to be a useful. What you're building, it must be useful to people. If you are building something, let's say you work, let's say you make 800K a year at like one of these, you're a director or something at these massive companies, and you're just crushing, and but you're not working that much, and you're like, I'm gonna build a side project or a startup, and I want to do a startup, so I can throw a lot of money into things like ads or hiring people. So you have all this big budget, let's say. But if you build something trash or slop or something that's not useful to people, then you can throw all the ads you want. It's not gonna. It's a waste of money. It's an absolute waste of money. So I would not start with ads. I would first validate that I'm building a legitimate solution to a problem, to a legitimate problem. If that is the case, if I can prove that, then I can go and start oiling the marketing fire, right? Because most of us don't have product market fit at the early stage, it takes a while to get it, and so it's not very useful. So, for example, it took Figma 5 years to launch, 5 years. So him running ads for the first 4.5 to 5 years is absolutely a waste of his time and a waste of his money. But in year 5, when he started, and he got product market fit pretty quickly from the 5 year, because I think they iterated so much that it became such a useful product that he was able to get PMF pretty quick. That's when you would start. Okay, do I need to fuel this fire a little bit more? Maybe I raise money now. Let me go run some ads. But if you are super confident, I mean, I hate to say this because every founder is super confident with an idea, but like if you are like for sure confident that this is a real problem, that it has product market fit, and I think the only way to do that, the only way to validate that it is, besides getting insane traction, like again ignoring the traction, let's say because we're all early stage, it's not the case. The only way to validate that is someone else has already built it, like something exactly what you're building, but again maybe you have some sort of spin to it, or it's adjacent, whatever it is, right? You saying I'm going to build an AI agent for X is not. There's like no proof that's going to work. There's just none. Like you running an ad on that will not work. It makes no sense, because we don't know if it's going to work, because it really hasn't worked for anyone, really, to be honest. But if you're going to build I don't know, an LLM that can compete with ChatGPT and Claude. Like we use Claude daily. We use Gemini daily. We use, we use these daily. So there's already product market fit for an LLM that works. So let's say you have some sort of, I know this is going to work. I have a better model. It's cheaper. It's whatever. It's 10x better. Then it's just a game. Then maybe it is. Like you have, it's a problem that people will solve.
Yeah, like Whisperflow, like. Whisperflow's growth strategy was crazy. Like they built the referral program, and everyone started sending to each other to get free, basically words, and free month. And I received Whisperflow from like 5 people I know. They told me like use this link, please. Like I want to get free, and it's good product. Like it's amazing, and it's using AI.
Yeah, as someone who has worked in referrals before, referrals only work with a good product. Like it does not work if you don't have a good product. So yes, Whisperflow is an incredible product, but Whisperflow also, like there's a lot of competitors to Whisperflow, but they're not good. A lot of them are not good that I know of, and I'm sure there are some good ones besides that one. But Whisperflow is really good. So once you go through the experience, you're like, this is amazing. I'm loving it. You're more likely to share it. Right, and that's actually what was it? There's like a K factor. I can't remember the definition of it, but look it up. Look up this whole thing about K factor. It's like the proof of virality. It's a proof of product market fit, basically. If you have a K factor of X, or I can't remember what it is, which means that for everyone that uses the product, they share it with X amount of people. That's a sign of virality. It's a sign of like a real product that like you'll blow up. And I think again, Whisperflow builds a referral program. It makes sense. That's why a lot of these fintechs build referral programs, because it's proven to work. For example. A bank is already a validated product. Everyone needs a bank, right? It's a validated product. So again, so Chase can offer huge referral programs, right? Because they know that once I get you in, it's going to be legitimate. Again, I'm not saying you're going to have to like your experience at Chase, but you need a bank though. You need a bank. So that's an example of, if I'm going to build something in that space, automatically I already know people need something like that. So maybe I can run some ads and say, maybe I can give you a better program or whatever it is. But again, for the vast majority of these AI products that people are building, we have no idea if it's going to work. So like, you probably shouldn't be spending money on that.
Yeah. Just do the manual thing, as you mentioned. It's kind of even like Sean Ellis, which he created the growth hacking concept. This was his entire basically concept. Is like main channel should be word of mouth. And word of mouth is going to happen if you have good product. So you only focus on making good products, and then growth is going to happen. Anything without this, you just like basically going nowhere. And you should basically spend your time doing the manual growth, which is conversations, and then iterate, and then reach to the level where you have very good product. Anything other than that, like don't try to go viral, don't try to do this, because this just wastes your time. And sometimes you go viral and people realize this is a very bad product, and then you just kill like very good opportunity to scale.
Well, so virality has a may give you the wrong signal. Not always. It might give you the right signal. So like usually if you go viral, it's people get excited about it. That's good, right? Generally good. But it could sometimes get you like go astray, because you're like, oh, I believe that this is the only way to do it because we went viral that one time. So yeah, be careful of like how you kind of interpret the response of customers. And to your point, actually, the loop of talking to you, it's a loop. It's never like I talk to user, I build a product, done. It's I talk to users, I build a product. I talk to users, I build a product. I talk to users, I build a product, and you keep doing that forever. Right? I mean, like Google still has to keep talking to their users. Apple does. They all have to. That's how they iterate, make things better. Again, and talking, the word talking to users does not mean I interview users, I do a focus group. It means everything. It means I look at their usage patterns. I do, market research. I look at what's happening in the industry. I look at what competitors are doing. It's kind of everything all in one. That's what talking to users really means. But again, generally, the closer you are to the user, the more you can hear from their mouth, the more you can see their response. Like if they're rolling their eyes at something, if they get excited about something, if they just like are trying to pull things out of your hand. It's not just like the words that come out of their mouth. It's like everything. The closer you are to them, the better data you get.
Yeah, and because we meet with a lot of founders, it's only few of them where we actually notice in the meeting that these people actually talk to their users, because the insights that they're telling us, we like, this is crazy. Like we have never heard this before about this industry or this customer. And it shows you the level of basically conversations they had with their users and how deep they understand their journey, how they understand their competitors, the customer's journey using their competitors, like all these details, they go very deep. And only a few founders, like maybe three that I can call right now, they they give this deep insights about their users, which gives them more chance to get funded and more chance to build trust with investors.
Well, so yeah. So what I will say is, investors tell us, or I've heard this time and time again, which is that one of the things that gets you excited about a founder is that they teach you something. If they're telling you again, you're getting pitches, we're getting hundreds, thousands of pitches, so we hear the same things over and over again. So when we hear the same thing over and over again, we don't get excited. In fact, we actually it turns us off. We're like, okay, this person has not done any sort of market research. They don't know anything about their user really. They're doing the same, they're falling the same trap that everyone else falls into. For example, because by the way, again, finding a company is so hard that all of us, no matter how good you are, fall in the trap. Even the billionaires that build a billion-dollar business, they fail over and over again. I mean, the founders of Instagram started a new company and they got acquired for like nothing compared to what they had before. They couldn't find product market fit. People are iterating all the time. So even the successful founders are still there's so much. I want to say luck. I want to say there's so many external factors to succeed in startups, and so we all fall into the same traps. And again, the first person that I think the person that falls in the trap the most is probably me, right? Like I would definitely say it's myself. That's why it's easy to give advice. It's really hard to like actually go practice it. But yeah, I mean that's the crux is like if you just don't put the time in, or if you don't, you'll kind of get stuck in the same loop because that happens to me all the time. And the more you talk to users, the more you start learning what's my unique insight. What do I know that someone else doesn't know? I can teach you. I'm like, I can teach you the investor or the user about like what's actually happening. That's like those are the best founders, the ones that can teach you that teach you something. And yeah, to your point, it rarely happens.
Yeah, like when you feel that you need to take notes from what the founder is talking about. It's like this is actually crazy, and this guy thinks I need to take notes. This is amazing stuff. Um, yeah, I think we talked a lot. We covered a lot too about first 100, building on product growth from word of mouth, running ads versus no ads in the beginning, um, being a smart founder, understanding the user's journey. I think this is all useful. I think if someone watched this video, they should be ready to basically go ahead and do growth the right way, from either they are in zero or even they are from 1,000 to 10,000. And yeah, do you have anything you want to add before we?
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say is if I were to start, I would talk to users first. I would not build anything. I would talk first. Again, the problem again, what AI does is we get stuck into a solution in search of a problem. That's always happens. What I would do is I would talk. Is this something useful? Like, let's say I talk to five people. Let's say I talk to you. You're a customer. Hey, and this is useful. I would use it. Okay, if you say you're gonna use it, let me go. Now I can in a weekend or in a few days I can go to Replit and build it. Then I can come back to you. What do you think? Oh, interesting, cool. would you pay $20 a month for this? No, why not? And then yeah, I would just iterate and just iterate. What do you need? What feature do you need? I need X. I need this or this, and then just keep going back and forth, and that's what I would do. So and again, it's uncomfortable to sell. It's comfortable to build. So the advice is do the
Yeah.
uncomfortable things.
Yeah, so when I first started the entrepreneurship journey, I was junior in college, right? This is when I got introduced to the startup board. And then my mentor in school, he was like, I had this idea. I was very excited. He was like, okay, go do 20 customer discovery calls. I was like, what is this guy's talking about, man? I don't want to do customer discovery calls. This is so boring. I want to go like actually like build. This guy's wasting my
Yeah,
time. So I didn't do it. Obviously, it was a terrible idea. It took me 6 months. Everything was bad. And the next time, he's still my mentor. I was still in college. So next idea, I was like, okay, let me actually listen to this guy and do the interviews. So I go and I do. So he first you do 20, you meet with him again, and then you keep doing interviews until 100, and then he would allow you to basically maybe start building. Before 100, you can build. So honestly, after like 15 interviews, I learned so much. I changed. It's a completely different idea after the 15. So I was like, okay, that's only 15. If you do 100, now we're building something real. Just go
yeah,
do more interviews. But it's hard. It's it's people don't like it because it's not fun. You're just gonna go and do interviews. The fun is you build and you go out there, and that's why I always hated customer discovery, but I always know that it's important.
yeah. The most successful accelerator slash venture studio is in Israel. It's in Tel Aviv,
Mm.
unfortunately, and he forces everyone. Everyone gets into the program. He forces them to talk to. It's a cybersecurity venture studio or accelerator. So what he does is he has like pretty much all the CIOs in like Fortune 500. They're all like Israeli or ex IDF or whatever it is. He has them all on like speed dial, and he says go talk to 100 of them, and they come out with 5 million in ARR, like
Yeah,
like clockwork. So Wiz is the most famous company that went through it. They're worth like 34 billion. They got sold to Google for like 34 billion. Um, and yeah, that was the game. Like remember, they didn't build anything, and they got to 5 million ARR the first year just because they had the right connects. That was their user. That was their ICP. They were able to secure contracts, and then boom, they just went and built it. So that's what
yeah.
it takes. That's what it takes. They know what they're doing.
And they don't allow you to talk about solution before the 100. So as you always say, you're a scientist. You build hypotheses, what the pain and the gain is, but you never mention solution in the first before the first 100. So we are not allowed to talk about solution. We only talk problem and the gain that the user wants from this problem. That's it. You're not allowed to speak solution until 100. And then maybe we start looking for patterns and start looking for real pain points. Before 100 comes like only talking problems. And I learned so much from that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what it takes, man. Yeah, I mean, like it's uncomfortable, but it's that's what it takes to succeed.
That's the real game.
Startups are not
That's the
easy.
real game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
startups are
And
not
this is
easy, man.
where
Yeah,
everyone should start. If you're thinking growth and you're not talking to users, you're thinking the wrong way. Talk to them. You'll find them. You will basically everything will start from the right place. And with that, we will end our episode for this week. As we always say, if you have specific topic or specific question you want us to cover, please write it in the comments, and we will go through it. We do this every week, and we would love to hear what you think and what you want us to talk about next. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. See you next week.
assalamu alaikum.